This is Natasha with Make Up Your Mind with Natasha LaFay. Today I am going to be doing this very colorful blue look while talking about some of the top reasons why people say they can't go to therapy. We all have issues, even myself. So just looking at honestly the reasons why people aren't going to therapy and really talking through that and seeing some ways that maybe some adjustments can be made to make sure that you're taking care of your mental health. So if you want to see how I did this look and also want to get some boosts for yourself to make sure that you're taking care of your mental health, keep on watching. Make sure that you like and subscribe, share this video, and I will see you in a bit. My topic for today is basically talking about the reasons why people say that they can't go to counseling. A lot of times people come up with a lot of reasons, aka excuses, why they can't go to counseling. So I just wanted to go over some of those. Like always, I have a mirror down here, so I'm just trying to look, but I'll try and look up as much as I can. Reasons why people don't go to counseling. So I'll just run through some of those while I am doing this look. If you have not already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, as well as a notification bell. If you are watching this video through Facebook, I'd ask that you go to your YouTube app and search Natasha LaFay, and it'll pull up my most recent video so that you can actually like and subscribe. Because Facebook does not take you to your actual YouTube profile for you to be able to do that. So going through a couple reasons why people don't go to counseling, and I will just first be honest and share my own kind of experience with counseling. For me, I don't really think I thought about counseling when I was younger. I didn't even know counseling was a thing growing up, honestly. I think times are definitely changing where people are more willing to talk about therapy, counseling, their mental health overall. Growing up, I never really heard anything other than, pray about it, God will fix it, everything will be okay. But I never really heard about what resources there were to actually talk to someone about the things that you're struggling with. So I went through life and I didn't really know that there was an official outlet per se, to be able to have a resource to talk about certain things. And it wasn't until I was in grad school working on my master's in counseling, and they don't make it mandatory that students go to therapy. I think it definitely should be mandatory, not only for the therapist to be able to, or upcoming therapists, because they're still in school, to work through their issues, but also for them to know what it is like for their clients to come and sit, that process, how did they feel? Because being on the other side of that, it is very nerve-wracking, and I definitely can understand what my clients are feeling when they come into the office for the first time. So for my personal experience with counseling, I did not go to any type of counseling until I was in junior year. I'm in my master's program, but towards the end of my master's program. And the only reason that I was like, okay, Natasha, you really need to go to counseling. I know that I talk a lot about losing my baby sister and how that has affected me. But in that process, I lost my sister. She was actually shot and killed in 2016. And it was a whole incident, but there was a video of the incident and someone sent it to me and I watched the video, and it's just wanting to know what was those last moments like. But as soon as I watched the video, it was instant anxiety. I was at work, I had a breakdown, I had to leave and go home, and from then trying to function in everyday life, trying to finish my master's program, I was having anxiety attacks, I was dealing with depression, crying. It was a lot going on, and I knew that I needed, especially because I live in Texas, my whole family's in Michigan, so I didn't have any face-to-face support. So I felt very by myself in that process, so I knew that I had to get some help. So that is when I decided to go to counseling. And as I'm working through dealing with the grief with my sister, that is when I actually started dealing with a lot of other stuff that needed to be addressed in therapy, and just I never went. So that was kind of what pushed me through the door. Going through that, I wished when I started dealing with my other stuff that I had have gone to therapy sooner, in order to kind of start getting a head start on clearing some of that childhood trauma, things that I had gone through, trying to work through that. But I am thankful for the opportunity that I would had, even though the situation clearly wasn't ideal, but the opportunity to actually spend some time focusing on working on myself. Even now, I think that as a practicing clinician, it's so important for us to have an outlet. I sit with clients all day, helping them walk through their stuff. I'm still a human. I'm still going through my own stuff in my own life. So even now, kind of realizing that I have to keep that constant support for myself. So working with a life coach, continuing to go to therapy, and making sure that I also am in the best mental state to continue to be a good help and resource for my clients. So I would say your therapist needs a therapist, and there is nothing wrong with your therapist going to counseling. I think it's healthy for your therapist to be willing to do the things that they're asking you to do. So I am trying to practice what I preach and walk the walk. So in that, going through some of the things I often hear when I talk to people, and some of the excuses that I honestly made when I thought about going to counseling when I was younger. So the first thing I'll say is, people are, I have friends, I have family that I can talk to. Why would I, pay somebody? Why would I go and tell my business to a stranger when I can talk to my friends? So in addressing that, one thing that I often hear from my clients is that, one, it's difficult for them to talk to their family. And a lot of times I understand that, because your family is addressing you, dealing with you from their understanding of who you are. You're raised with a family. They've known you all their life. That's the view that they have of you. So it's hard and difficult to kind of break that, and for them to be objective and honestly give you true and good feedback. So a lot of times it is healthier to be able to speak with someone who has no bias. Therapist has nothing to gain either way as far as what decisions that you're making. As long as you are making progress and you feel that you are getting healthy, that is the only goal of your counselor. Another excuse, and this is one of the main reasons why people don't go to therapy, that it costs too much. And I understand that. I understand that going to counseling is a financial sacrifice. I understand that it's something that you have to maybe accommodate, move things around. But when you look at the long run, the cost benefit analysis. So what's the cost and what's the benefit? Yes, you have to pay for counseling under certain circumstances. Maybe you have insurance that will cover some of the cost of your counseling. But ultimately, the cost and the benefit, right? So if you are dealing with depression, you're dealing with anxiety. Like I said, going through that situation with the loss of my sister, dealing with anxiety and panic attacks. I went to the doctor, I don't even know how many times. My health was affected greatly by everything that I was dealing with. I was struggling with making it to work. So not only with cost of going to the doctor, medications, getting tests, running all of that, also not being able to show up and be functional at work. So it had gotten so bad that I had to take a leave of absence from work. I couldn't function. I wasn't effective. I was a director of a credentialing and training team, and I had several people under me who, they were depending on me to kind of be their leader, also from my leadership, making sure that the business is running smoothly. And I was not at a mental, emotional place where I was able to do that. So even though, yes, I was making good money, I wasn't at a place where I could show up and actually be present at work. So that was also, a cost to not really taking care of my mental health earlier. Another kind of cost is, stress can kill you. Stress does a lot of damage on your body. Anxiety depression, you look at potential depression escalating into having suicidal thoughts and the effects of that, I think when you lay out your pros and cons, yes, you have to pay for therapy. Yes, it may be a financial sacrifice. But how much do you pay on going out to eat? How much do you pay on going shopping or just blowing money on random things? When you think about in the long run, you're making an investment into your health. You're making an investment into your well-being. And it's an investment that can go for generations. If you're able to learn healthy coping skills, if you're able to learn how to talk about your feelings and deal with your emotions, that's something that you can also pass down to your children, pass down to other people that you know. So there is a lot of benefit, even though, yes, there is a cost attached to it. The next reason, I don't have time. I am the advocate for I don't have time. My schedule is crazy busy. I have things to do every single day. If it is not on my calendar, it does not exist. So I live by my calendar. And I mean, I go to work, I have kids, I have things that I'm trying to accomplish business-wise. So I understand that life can get hectic, but again, what is the cost and the benefit, right? What are you risking? What are you putting above yourself? What are you putting above your well-being? Maybe you don't go out to the movies one day and instead on a Saturday you go to counseling. You know, what are some things that you can rearrange in order to prioritize your well-being? We have a lot of time. It's just a matter of what you do with it. I was listening to a message from Sarah Jakes Robert, and she talked about how much our attention is worth, right? When you think about how big of a business that Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you think about how much they invest in distracting us, how much of our time we spend just scrolling frivolously on the internet, and what type of effect does that have on our mental health. I think that you definitely have the time. It's a matter of just prioritizing that time and thinking about how can I make the best of my time. So you have the time. You may have to adjust some things. You may have to shuffle some things around, maybe in regards to your schedule, maybe in regards to saying, okay, on this day, this is dedicated to my mental health, so I'm going to go to therapy. Also, there are options nowadays, right? So we are getting into telemental health. So often you may not be able to go and sit in a therapist's office. You may not be able to drive to a therapist's office, but many therapists are doing virtual counseling. Like I said, I've talked about this where I recently launched the virtual counseling side of my company, M.B.S. Health, where I understand that getting places and doing things may be difficult, but again, you have to have your priorities. So making sure that you are being honest with yourself. And a lot of times we get caught up in giving ourselves excuses, but be honest with yourself as far as your capabilities and what you're actually capable of doing. The next thing is, I went to counseling once, it didn't help. I see a lot of clients where they went to a counseling session maybe once or twice, and they're like, it wasn't working, so I just stopped going. It took a lot for you to get to the current mental state that you are in, so I don't think that it is reasonable to expect that you're going to be healed, right? Or everything's going to be fixed, everything is going to be perfect in 1 or 2 sessions. I think you have to honestly give yourself time to practice those skills, to work on yourself and get to a better place. So yes, counseling is an investment of money and it is an investment of time, and you have to be willing to be patient with yourself in order to make true progress. Or you'll go for a couple sessions, you're like, yeah, I got things off my chest, I feel great, but if you don't work on the root cause of what you're dealing with, it'll be an ongoing cycle. So knowing that if you're going into this, that you're willing to make an investment and talk to your therapist, see, okay, what is my treatment plan? What is the steps that we're going to take to get to my goals? What does that look like? So that you can have some measurable things to look for to be able to gauge your progress. What's the next thing? What is talking going to do to fix it? A lot of people are like, I have my issues. I've always had my issues. Talking about it is going to do what? But a lot of times, like I said, we don't have the tools that we need in order to do the things that we need to do for ourselves. So talk therapy can really help you to be able to deal with the things that maybe you've been ignoring for most of your life, to be able to address some of those hurts, maybe childhood trauma, attachment needs that weren't met when you were growing up, and for you to be able to learn some new skills. So there is a lot of benefits to going and speaking and talking to someone about the things that you're going through. And a lot of times, especially I love seeing clients who it's their very first experience coming to counseling, because a lot of times they will say, you know, I didn't realize I was holding so much inside. I didn't realize how much I just needed to speak my truth and tell my story. So there is a lot of value in talk therapy. Also, there is a lot of advancements in the area of therapy. So there are different methods of therapy. There are therapies specific to trauma. There's different therapies that you can try that is more experiential, as far as doing certain things that is above and beyond just sitting and talking to someone. So do your research, ask people kind of, you know, based on what you're dealing with, what is the best method of therapy that'll be the best fit for you. I'm getting colorful, huh? You like that? I am just packing on these colors, trying to recreate on the bottom what I did on the top, and then I know it looks a little messy, but we'll clean it up at the end once I have all the colors laid down. The next one, this makes me laugh. All therapists want is money. To that, I will say, Google the average salary for a therapist. I'll just leave that right there. A lot, and I say that because people think, oh, all you want to do is milk my insurance, or all you want to do is take my money. There isn't, just baseline, starting out, there is not a lot of financial incentive to being a therapist other than it being something that you are truly passionate about and something that you wanted to do. I spoke about, you know, having during my time of difficulty going on a leave of absence and leaving my job, and I was making quite a good salary, but I was also not doing something that I loved, not doing something that fulfilled me. So it didn't matter the financial sacrifice that I was making in order to do that, because I knew that for me it was bigger than that. If I can sit down and talk to one person and help one person, then it's worth it for me. So yeah, be aware of kind of the things that you're speaking and making sure that you're equipping yourself with knowledge to fully understand the sacrifices that a lot of therapists make in order to be able to do what they love, and knowing that therapists, they're passionate about their work. They're passionate about sitting down and helping people. So yes, we go through a lot of schooling and education, a lot of training, a lot of unpaid hours that we had to deal with in order to get the licensure that we have in order to sit in front of you. So we do deserve to be compensated, but know that we're not trying to take advantage of you. We're just getting, you know, our worth. You don't kind of complain about the rate that your doctor charges you for a appointment and they come and sit in the room with you for 5 minutes. So just be knowledgeable about what the field is, and that your therapist that you're sitting in front of is passionate about what they do, and they have your best interest in mind. The next thing, I like this color. The next thing is that I like that. The next thing is that the therapist is going to judge you. And this is why I go back to the beginning where I say that it's very important for therapists to go to therapy so they can understand what that process feels like, because it teaches them how to have a level of understanding and compassion. And I always tell anyone that I meet with, I always thank them for saying, I know that it isn't easy to sit down and trust someone with your deepest secrets and tell them all your problems and everything that you're dealing with. And I appreciate you for being strong enough and willing enough to do that, because I understand that it is not easy. And it takes some courage, right, to be able to, one, admit that you have issues, and two, to be able to say, you know, I need some help, and be able to be open and willing to share with someone that you don't know. Let me see. Sorry if I'm blocking. Trying to clean up. That is pretty. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is add some mascara. I got this, I hope you can see it. This is a sample size of the new Fenty mascara. It works pretty okay. I like to layer it. So I'll put this on first, and then I'll put on my Bad Girl Bang mascara because I like how it thickens my eyelashes because I don't wear lashes. So I'm trying to create an illusion here. So I'll add this first and then the other one. The last thing, and this one is a little questionable because I know that people have different opinions about this, but some people say, well, I can just take a pill. It'll help me feel better if I just, get a prescription, antidepressant, anti-anxiety. I can just take that and, I'll be okay. And I tell people that medication, it does its job. I don't discount medication. I encourage some clients if I feel like, they need something in order to stabilize them, in order to make progress through therapy. I do think that medication can be very important for those who can benefit from it. But I also think that medication is not a end-all be-all quick fix. Everything's done. I think that medication for some people who are, having some difficulties in their lives, dealing with depression, it can be kind of like that boost, to help them stabilize and get the support that they need. Okay, I'm gonna have to dig in my eye. Oh no. No. See this? Is it making a mess? This mascara does not want me to be great. Okay, so yes, medication. It's not an end-all be-all. Therapy is supposed to work in conjunction with medication. So you take medication to be able to stabilize you, especially for those who have no motivation. They can't get out of bed in the morning. They can't do the things that they normally do. Medication can be that help while they're dealing with the things that they need to do in order to get to a better place. So medication is not the only piece. And I think that a lot of times, especially because your primary care doctor can prescribe certain antidepressants, anti-anxieties, but I think they should also be referring people to come to therapy so that they can get the long-term support that they need. That was the last one. So a lot of reasons why people say that they can't make therapy work, they can't come to therapy, they're afraid to try therapy, and I understand, but I also think that especially in this day and age where we are seeing so much more about mental health in the media, where we're seeing so many people as far as, celebrities disclosing that they're going to therapy. In regards to even on TV shows, we're seeing characters on TV going to therapy. I think that it's becoming more normalized and a lot less taboo than it has been in the past, even though we still have some progress to make. So again, I ask that if you are dealing with something, that you have issues that you've been avoiding, that you haven't been feeling like yourself. If you're feeling like, I'm barely getting out of bed to make it in work in the morning, I'm barely getting out of bed to get my kids up and going, I'm barely, eating, I don't have an appetite, I can't sleep, I'm up all night, I'm exhausted during the day, but as soon as I lay down, my brain is racing, I can't turn it off. These are the things that are warning signs that your body is telling you, okay, you have some stuff that you need to deal with. You have some things that you need to address. And like I said before, mental health issues can become physical issues if you continue to ignore them. And it's kind of like a cancer. Just because you don't look at it doesn't mean that it's not spreading, it's not growing. What you're doing is causing yourself more harm than just addressing it as soon as you can. So I would encourage those who are dealing with struggles, it is okay. It is okay to need support. It is okay to get help. It is also okay to say, certain things I'm gonna have to sacrifice for right now in order to focus on prioritizing myself and my mental health. There's certain things that I may have to put on pause. I may not be able to travel for a season. I may not be able to, go out as much as I'm used to. But in the long run, you're doing yourself a lot more justice to just go ahead and take care of the things that you need to so that you can enjoy those things and be present in those things in the future. I shared my personal experience with going to counseling. In doing that, I was able to find someone that I related to, someone who understood what I was going through. And that brings up another point. Therapy, when you're looking for a therapist, it is very important for you to feel comfortable with that therapist. It is important for it to be a good fit. So I would say if you go to therapy and you don't click well with your therapist, don't give up on therapy. Try and find someone else. There's someone that will be a good fit for you and you guys will be able to work together. But I think that it's important for you to know, just because you sit down in front of someone doesn't mean that you're stuck with that person forever. If you know that it isn't a good fit, maybe ask that person to give you some referrals. There's a lot of different directories that you can look on to kind of narrow down the type of person that you're looking for. There may be certain cultural things that are important for you or spiritual things that's important for you to be able to match up with your therapist on. So look around. A couple of things. I am listed on Psychology Today. So it's psychologytoday.com, where you can find different therapists. You can search by location, you can search by gender, you can search by insurance type or cash pay, or if they have virtual offices where they do online counseling. You can also narrow it down as far as, sexual orientation, spiritual beliefs, things like that. I am also listed on Therapy for Black Girls. So if you know that you are looking specifically for an African American therapist, there are different websites that you can go to specific for that. So there's a lot of information out there. You just have to be willing to take some time, do some research. I know that for anyone who has insurance, wanting to use their insurance, I always recommend that you call your insurance, the number on the back of your insurance card, and ask them for referrals. See if you have EAP services, which is the Employee Assisted Program, where you may be eligible to get a couple of free sessions. So there's options out there for you to be able to get the help and the support that you need. You just have to be willing to be honest with yourself and say, I can't do this alone. I need some support. I need someone to walk with me, and just go ahead and take that step. I'm happy that I decided to go to counseling. I'm happy that I decided to finally start dealing with some things that I had been going through, because not only is it making me a better person, it's also helping me to be a better therapist. And I know that there are times where I can say, I don't need to go to my therapist every week. I don't need to go to my therapist, maybe not every month, depending on, where you are. But being able to know that you have that outlet, you have that resource, you have someone that you can go to be able to get the support that you need. So I would like to know from you guys, what are some excuses? What are some reasons that you've been giving yourself why you can't go to therapy? And let's talk about it. Let me see if you have questions. If there's any way that I can help you find a therapist, I am willing to do that also. I can give you resources in your area to help you find someone that may be a good fit. My goal for starting this channel, my goal for doing this, is to help people. I wanted to make sure I was still recording. Is to help people be able to understand that mental health care is important, to normalize taking care of yourself. So I'm more than willing, use me as a resource to be able to help you find the person that you need in order to help you get to a better place. So I appreciate you for watching. This is my blue look. Like I said, I got this look as inspiration from the YouTuber Ellery, and I will link her channel, and I'll see if I can actually link to the video that she did. I posted it on, I always post to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and she actually responded to me on Instagram and said that she liked how I redid her look. So thank you, Ellery. Let's see, I think that's it. If you have questions, I'm here. I'm a resource. Message me. You can comment below. Also, if you want to, talk privately and you don't want to put a message on YouTube, you can go to my website, M.B.S, M as in Mary, B as in boy, S as in Sam, wholehealth.com, and you can send me a message there. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you are not subscribed, again, try and go to your YouTube app on your phone and search Natasha LaFay. It'll pull up my channel. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and make sure you like this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. Ooh. go to therapy.